Okay, so we've just been shooting with the RP and the 600D. Same photos, just with different lenses, different cameras. And it's just making me remember like why I moved on from the 600D, but also like what I liked about it. So my brother's been like cycling around. I've been taking some action shots and some stills, and the action shots are honestly only really possible on the RP because of the autofocus. The dual pixel autofocus is amazing on it. Obviously this doesn't have dual pixel. I think it does have continuous autofocus, but the continuous FPS on this for shooting is not that great. But in terms of the stills, this was perfectly fine, and it can use this 24mm lens, which is great because the camera is 18 megapixels and the cropped lens takes advantage of all those megapixels. The crop sensor on this is 1.6 times crop from full frame. So that is another disadvantage. When I put the 50mm 1.8 on here, it becomes like 70mm, and then you don't get the full 1.8 aperture. I remember when I first swapped to mirrorless full frame and realizing that 50mm is actually a lot wider than I thought, and there's even like some distortion on this lens. But yeah. But in terms of the positives about this, the battery life is incredible compared to the RP. Obviously mirrorless takes a lot more battery. And you know, like all of the buttons and stuff, those small things which just change the experience, they're all like perfectly fine. I do like having some more dials on the RP, but there's no problem with all of the buttons and the flip out screen. If this didn't have a flip out screen, that would be a deal breaker for me, but it does, and it's perfectly fine. It's bright enough for a sunny day. And you do have one scroll wheel which you can just change the usage with the button. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And we've got a battery pack handle on here as well, which makes it square, which I always loved using because you can kind of rotate it this way and it doesn't change the experience. It's just the same either way. Yeah. And then also I love having the optical viewfinder as well on this. Obviously you can't have that on mirrorless really unless you have like a Fuji, which I don't get. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, the optical viewfinder is really nice. Like obviously gives you like a real view of the lens you're using. But the EVF on the RP is a lot brighter. You can see all the settings. You can even like review photos and stuff, which I often do if I'm shooting like a lot of shots. I want to review it quickly and then recompose the image and stuff like that. So yeah, it's this is definitely a good camera, but I'm sure you can see why I would upgrade to mirrorless for professional work. So to just do a non-technical summary for this video, obviously it doesn't matter what camera you have, really, for your photography work. The reason that I bought a slightly more expensive camera than my old DSLR, like I've said many times, is just for the low light performance. But yeah, you know, for my film work, I'm shooting on cameras I bought for tens of pounds. And they work perfectly fine. And in terms of my digital cameras, you know, the 600D I bought for £100 back in 2018, I think, and that was perfectly fine for all of my outdoor work. No, it sounds cliche, but the phrase the best camera is the one you have with you is really true, definitely in this case. I would even shoot video on the 600D if I had a gimbal, you know. But yeah, for me, it's more about the lenses anyway. So So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Okay, stop. I got one of you winning.
Well, it depends if I win or not. Oh yeah, I'm gonna win.
Can you do it? Can you do it in a 5-second answer?